every single breath that I take, it's like delicious, you know, it's like, and it's just like, oh, yeah, like, that is the most like delicious breath you can breathe on this planet. And you just focus on how nice it is to be able to breathe. Meditation is one of like the most useful things that I find works in my life in terms of whenever I feel like anxious or erratic or oh no, everything is not gonna work out and I'm not gonna be okay and I'm gonna die and all these bad thoughts. I feel like meditation is like without the doubt the best no gimmicks tool that I have found that works. You know, because there are a lot of gimmicky spiritual things out there that I find. I mean, it works in the short term, and maybe you can argue it's placebo or whatever, but I find the most effective things in life are just really simple, down-to-earth, like zero-based, no-gimmick practices, and I find meditation definitely is one of them. For a lot of people, meditation seems really difficult. Like, maybe not as much anymore, because everyone's kind of, you know, it's kind of like a trend now that people are meditating, but I still know a lot of people that don't really meditate, and I just want to kind of give my 2 cents on meditation and how to do it easily. The most basic meditation is just literally sitting down however you want or lying down and just focusing on your breath. I think, you know, most people would have heard this one, and, you know, I think it works. Like, even if you just, whenever you feel kind of anxious or erratic in your head, or for me anyway, like, even if you just stop whatever you're doing and just close your eyes and just focus on your breath for 3 breaths, just go times 3, you'll feel so much better and you'll feel so much more grounded. So that's like a very simple version of that. And even with that, it's like, I think there's a lot of parameters in terms of meditations. It's like, you know, how you sit. Do you close your eyes? Do you keep your eyes open? How do you breathe? Do you breathe through your nose, your mouth, both, your butthole? You know, you don't know. There's a lot of things. But with that one, I think whatever it is you do, just stop. And I think closing your eyes is helpful, or even kind of like half open, like you're kind of like tripping out a little bit. And just focus on your breath, just, you know, at least 3 times to kind of center you. And obviously, the longer you do it, the better. That's one, is just, you know, focus on your breath. Like 2, sometimes you can just sit, close your eyes, and just, instead of focusing on your breath and being like, okay, I'm breathing, you literally just sit down and you just sink into the present moment. And you just kind of feel how blissful it is for you to just sit here in this room, on this chair, with your legs, with your butt on this nice chair, and the air is nice, it's not too hot, it's not too cold, or it's, you know, it's bearable, like this shirt feels nice, and you just kind of taste every little thing in your environment and just kind of bring that in, just kind of absorb the fucking chi or the energy or the prana or whatever you want to call it in the air, just like suck it in your body and just feel the blissfulness of the present moment. Because it is nice, you know, if you just sit here and you just sit and you just don't worry, like discard the past, don't worry about the future, and just sit and let yourself have this moment of just not trying to do anything and just relax and be like, it's okay, just chill. And it's really nice. So that's another way you can meditate, is just, you don't have to focus on your breath, but you just focus on how nice it feels to be right here, right now, in this moment. And I think that's quite a nice one. And also with that one, it's like, you can also focus on how, not necessarily your breath, but just like how delicious it feels like to breathe. Because sometimes I get into this state, I don't know, if anyone else does, because like often my nose is kind of blocked. I've kind of had a blocked nose ever since I was little, and sometimes when it's not blocked, or, you know, if you do practices such as mewing, which is like kind of tongue posture and neck posture, it kind of frees up your nose channels. And when I can breathe properly through my nose, and I'm sitting there and I'm just, you know, kind of enjoying, just eating this blissful present moment, it's like every single fucking breath that I take, it's like delicious, you know, it's like, and it's just like, oh, fuck yeah, like, that is the most, like, delicious fucking breath you can breathe on this planet, and you just focus on how nice it is to be able to breathe. Because it's like if you're swimming or something, or if you're holding your breath underwater for whatever reason, and you suddenly you get up and you're like, and it's like, oh my god, air is great. But it's like air is always great. It's not just on those moments where you're gasping for air, you're gonna die. But it's like air is always fucking cool. It's like the fact that you can breathe air into your nose or into your mouth or any other orifice you have. It's fucking great, and it feels good if you just focus on it. Because I think in society we tend to there's so much stimulation, so much dopamine hits through, social media or just food or TV or whatever, that we are so accustomed to this high state of like stimulation. But when you just take yourself down to that very base level, even having a single fucking breath is like having sex with the air. Like, it feels fucking great. Exaggerating a little bit, it's like not that good, because sex is pretty nice, I guess. But so is breathing, all right? Every time you breathe, you're not just breathing, you are having sex with the air. You're getting penetrated by the air, and it's going inside of you, and you're like, yeah, okay, I'm just kidding. All right, that's too much. So that's two like very basic ways. One is focus on your breath. Two is, I guess let's go with three. One is just focus on the fact that you're breathing. Two is focus on how delicious the breath is. And three is just focusing on how delicious it is to be alive in this moment. And those are kind of three ways you can just kind of close your eyes or even stand up, or like wherever you are. You can do it standing up, sitting down on the kitchen table, on a chair, in the bedroom, on top of each other. Like, you can do a three-way. I'm just kidding. All right. In terms of timing, like obviously the longer it is, the better it is. It feels like I'm just talking about sex, but I mean, short is good too, right? I mean, just like you pop a cookie. Okay, I think a lot of times people don't meditate, or I don't meditate, because I'm like, oh, in order for me to get the effects, I have to do it for like at least 20 minutes. And of course, if I do it for 20 minutes, it feels really good. But doing like 3 seconds is better than no seconds. Even if you just do one breath when you feel kind of like, or just like, oh my god, everything is gonna crumble to pieces. Just close your eyes and just breathe and just be like, at least once. And if that feels good, do it 2 times. If that feels good, do it 3 times. And if that feels good, do it 4 times. And continue. You get the point. I don't think you should necessarily force yourself to meditate, because then you're going to your head. It's like maybe your body is impulsively wanting to go over there or do this or do that, but instead of letting yourself do what you want, you're forcing yourself to do another thing. And I think that's not necessarily that good either. I think there is merit in kind of trying to persevere, but if your heart is like, I really rather do this other thing, then I say just go for it. I think forcing anything doesn't really work. And because you will get to a point when you meditate where meditation just feels fucking ecstatic, and you just want to keep meditating. You're not doing it because you're like, oh well, I shouldn't meditate because everyone says it's good and blah blah blah, but you genuinely want to just sit there and just be alive in the present moment. And I think that's a good state to get to, but don't force yourself to get there. Just relax. It comes with time. Yeah, because in the beginning, you probably won't last very long, and then the more you do it, the more you figure it out, the longer you can last, right? Same with meditation. Get it? That was another sex joke. Okay, now let's move on to like guided meditations. These are actually probably easier than just like the nothing meditations, because you're still kind of getting stimulated. You're not just sitting there with nothingness, and that could be boring, but you're still getting stimulation. So one meditation I really like is from this guy called Joe Dispenza. I'll put a link to it, and it's basically this meditation, and it's 45 minutes long, and like the first section is kind of like a relaxation exercise. He kind of talks to you through it. Like, his voice is very interesting. He kind of sounds like an alien sometimes. It's like you're resting here in space. In space. And it's like, for some people, I think it's a little bit like off-putting, but for me, it sounds really cool. So I get really like entranced by it. And the background music is really nice. And it's like, okay, so the first half is kind of like relaxation. He talks you through it. And then the second half is kind of like visualization exercises. It's like, like if you could have anything you want, what would it be? You just kind of visualize. And that's really, that's like a really fun way to kind of, meditate in a way where it's kind of like, instead of just relaxing, it's like, yo, you're relaxed, you're good, you stripped away all the negative shit, but now you start imagining what you want and you start creating this reality within your head, within a higher dimension that eventually gets brought into this dimension. And that's the basis of manifestation, really. And it's really cool, and it's 45 minutes long, and like usually like before that meditation, I don't think I've meditated that long ever, but because the meditation is so fucking relaxing, you know, I love his voice, I love the background music, I love everything that happens. Like every time I put that on, I can meditate for at least 30 to 45 minutes on that meditation, and it's fucking cool. So I'll put a link to that. Oh, it does cost money, which is like, I think it's like $3 or something to buy it, and I find, it's like, sure, you can go on YouTube, and there's so many fucking guided meditations, or you can get meditation apps like Insight Timer is a good one, or Headspace. I don't like that one. I like Insight Timer better, but whatever you want. When you spend money on a meditation, you actually commit to it better, and you kind of like milk it better, because when you get something for free, sometimes like you're not as grateful for it. Like there's no hurt money in it for you, so you're like, well, it's all right, but I didn't pay any money, so I'm just gonna do another one. And you kind of just go on this kind of like meditation shopping spree, jumping from one thing to another. When you buy one, it's kind of like you sunk money into it. It's like hurt money for you in a way, into that meditation. So you kind of treasure it more. And when you treasure it more, I just find you do it better. And that's what I found with meditations that I bought, because I'm like, well, since I bought it, I'm gonna use it. Otherwise, I just wasted $3. And it doesn't seem like much money, but it's like when you just put a little bit of money about free, you kind of treasure it more. And I find that's another good way to get yourself into better meditation states. And I think it's almost commentary on how ungrateful we are for all the free shit there is on the internet, that we have to buy something in order to actually see it as worthy of our time. And I don't think that's true. I think there's plenty of free things out there that will do you good, equal to, if not better than, paid things. But you're gonna try harder on the things you pay for because you paid for it. Joe Dispenza, Insight Timer, Headspace, those are apps that you can use that I find are quite good, and there's just a fuck ton of meditation in there that you can just try. I also really like meditating to a heart, like this. It's like a heart chakra sound. It's from this channel called like Meditative Mind, and they just put up all these like really nice tracks. You know, it's like 528 hertz heart healing manifestation sound, and it's just really nice, like soothing background music, and every time I listen to it I just feel really relaxed. Also crystal bowls and gong sounds I find are really nice to meditate to. Especially crystal bowls, I find it's like the sound just gets into your brain like a fucking high-dimensional alien creature going in and just like swirling around. It just feels fucking amazing. So I definitely recommend that. And even easier, if there's relaxing music that you like, you know, it doesn't have to be anything like yogic or whatever. It's just music you generally like. You can just listen to, even if you just listen to one song and you just relax to it, I think that can be counted as meditation in my eyes. I think that's fine too. Now I want to go into kind of the more technical stuff in terms of meditation, in terms of like sitting postures and stuff like that. So you can sit on the ground, cross-legged. That's easy. You can do like half lotus or full lotus if you can. So like these are just all like, these are options, and I want you to just try all of them and see which one you like the best. And sometimes I cycle through these different positions depending on the day, because sometimes if I do too much of one position, then I might just switch to another one. But I'm just gonna give you some ideas on ways you can kind of position yourself when you meditate. You can sit with something on your butt, so you raise yourself up a little bit, and kind of that keeps your spine a little bit straighter as well. You can lie down, like fully lie down in Savasana, the corpse pose, or you can put something underneath your knees that feels a little bit better, or you can even, sometimes I do this one, you put your feet on a couch or something so you're a little bit more elevated, and that feels a little bit better on my back as well. Or sometimes I like to lie on my back and I kind of do a butterfly position with my legs, and my feet are together, and kind of feels like you're praying with your feet. And then if you kind of do if you do something with your hands where your hands are together, then it just kind of feels like your whole body is in this like unified, centralized, symmetrical position, and that feels really nice as well. Those are some ideas that you can meditate. I mean, of course, you can even stand up and meditate. Like, that feels quite nice. You know, you just stand up, you just have your hands out or whatever you want, and you just kind of like sit and just breathe, and that feels really nice too. In terms of hand postures, because there's a lot of ways you can like use your hands. Like the most basic one is just forefinger on your thumb. It's called a Gyan Mudra. So like different hand postures are called mudras, and that's one of the most common ones, called the Gyan Mudra. Like sometimes I like to just do this with my hands, or like this, or you can do avatar style, or you know, like whatever is comfortable, like hands on your knees, face down, face up. Just try all these different ways. And you know, even when you're lying down, you can have your hands on your stomach, on your chest, behind your head, above your head. Like just try all these different ways, because I think with meditation, what a lot of people get caught up in is like, sure, like certain techniques will have you sit in very specific ways and use your hands in very specific ways, and I think that's fine if you want to do those techniques. The most basic form is just literally finding, instead of following a set of principles that someone else has laid out, follow what feels right for you. Because I often find when I do that, that's actually when I start meditating the best, rather than forcing myself to conform to another person's kind of like ideologies in terms of how to meditate. So yeah, I think it's important you figure it out for yourself. But the only thing I would say is when you meditate, try and not hunch your back. Try and have your back straight as much as you can, which is where when you sit up on something it works, or you can sit against something, and I find that keeps my back straighter as well. Because yeah, I find when I do hunch, it's like, that doesn't feel good for me. But if you want to hunch as well, you go ahead and you hunch. If you find it hard to meditate, what I find really useful is if you do a little bit of exercise, even 5 minutes, where you just get a little bit of sweat on, just kind of breathe a little bit faster, and then you meditate. I find it's a lot easier for you to get into that state rather than you just going into a cold. It's almost like warming up for a meditation. You fatigue your body through the movement that you kind of want to just sit down and rest. And yeah, when you start meditating after exercise, I find it it's a little bit easier. And the best time I find to meditate is often, most likely, the times you least want to meditate. Like, okay, if you're feeling really good and you're just going with the flow and everything is fucking awesome, then you just go ahead. You don't meditate. But if you feel bad and you're like, I don't know, it's not working, and then you start numbing yourself with, like going on social media or watching shows or playing games, stuff I do, as well, or like eating food, and you just kind of keep distracting yourself from facing the issues. That's precisely the best time to meditate, and that's gonna feel like you're not gonna feel like you want to meditate at all during that time, because you just want to escape from yourself. But if you do meditate during those periods, I find that's when you really kind of get yourself out of your funk, and you start feeling better than ever. So yes, those are some of the ways I meditate. I hope that helped you. If you have any other questions, feel free to comment below and I'll answer them. Like at the moment for me, my go-to is just I listen to that Joe Dispenza meditation track when I meditate. Yeah, and I try to do it at least once a day or every 2 days, and I find if I do that, then I'm so much calmer in real life, and when I have conversations with other people, I'm just so much more grounded and relaxed and present, rather than being anxious and overthinking, which is something I tend to do very often. So definitely try that, or just even look up meditations and you just find one that works for you, and just do that. Again, I hope that's helpful. Thank you for being here. You're great. I love you and I appreciate you. You deserve to be loved. You can do anything you want in your life. Don't let anyone tell you you can't, but be a nice person, be loving, love yourself, okay? Do things out of love, not out of ego, and yeah, go out there and just lick the world. Like a puppy with love, metaphorically. Don't just lick people. Alright, okay, bye-bye.